What's going on, Pats Nation? This is the CLNS Media's New England Patriots Postgame Show. I'm your host, Mike Molyneaux, alongside my co-host, Marvin Ezhan. Week 2, Patriots finally get a victory over the New Orleans Saints, 36-20. A game where, this is the Patriots team that most people expected to see coming out, scoring 36 points. Brady having a huge game, passing for over 400 yards with 3 touchdowns. And those 3 touchdowns coming in the first, well, 3 of those touchdowns coming in the first quarter. Brady was on fire. And, this is the team, like I said, that everybody expected to see looking hot from start to finish.
Yeah, man, you said it. Patriots get the win 36-20 against the New Orleans Saints. And let's start it off from the bat. Patriots are rolling. Tom Brady throws for 447 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, flawless game by him. And everyone contributed on this offensive team, whether it was the running backs. You had MikeNice carry the ball 18 times for 69 yards, 1 touchdown. He looked really good out there. You also incorporated James White, Dion Lewis, and Burkhead, who all had their shares of catches as well. And then the receivers, Rob Gronkowski. There was reports out earlier this week that Rob was slowing down.
Done was the word.
Done. People thought that Rob Gronkowski was done. Came out here, 6 receptions, 116 yards, and a touchdown. He did get hurt at the end of the third quarter, which is something we'll be talking about later on in the show. But like we said, overall effort, the offense looked really good out there for the New England Patriots, 36 points.
Yeah, and especially going back to Gronkowski, the whole done thing, Gronkowski had the bad game last week, against the Kansas City Chiefs. We're not used to seeing Gronkowski playing when he's fully healthy, having games like he did on week 1 against the Chiefs. But it was good to see him come out, have the connection, with Tom Brady. They seemed like they were clicking from the start of the game, right off the bat, like you said. Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski were clicking. And that's a guy who, in my opinion, is going to need to step up. Not that Gronkowski has games where he doesn't really step up too often, but especially with Julian Edelman, out for the season, Gronkowski is probably the next most trusted receiver that Tom Brady has. And that, for the defense, the offense to continue to be successful, that combination of Brady and Gronkowski and a healthy Gronkowski is going to be key in taking this team a long way throughout the season.
Like you said, Gronk, before all the injuries, if you remember, Gronk was pretty much Brady's #1 guy. Edelman emerged, obviously, as Brady's guy, but if there's a 1A and 1B, it's Edelman and Gronkowski. Brady looks at Gronk for a lot of ways, just third down checkdowns, deep passes, inside slants. That's going to be your guy. And to see Gronk really out there, and you could tell that their focus was to really get Gronkowski involved in this game, and it worked. It worked to fruition. New Orleans didn't have any answers, 116 yards, 6 receptions from Gronk. So he was averaging big plays throughout the game. And another guy who was huge in the offense was Chris Hogan, who had 5 receptions, 78 yards, and a touchdown. With Amendola being hurt, Chris Hogan's role now even expands more. And we saw him, even do a couple slants, couple outside routes, him working with Brandon Cooks. And Chris Hogan was a big beneficiary in those receiving yards.
One guy, though, who, only week 2, and we haven't really seen too much from him at all, especially in a game where he's going up against his old team, playing his old stadium. Brandon Cooks, didn't have a big impact on the offense. Finished with 2 receptions, 37 yards. Here's a guy, big acquisition that the Patriots made over the course of the offseason, and especially again with Edelman out for the season, you'd figure he's going to take on an even more prominent role with his offense next to Gronk and Hogan, Amendola, and whatnot. But there wasn't much there from him. He didn't do much. Brady and Cooks, maybe they're still working on their chemistry and the plays and whatnot. But what do you see it from Cooks on the field?
Cooks looks good out there. When Brady when Brady throws him the ball, it seems like it's magic. But a key word, I know you said 2 receptions, but only 4 targets as well.
That's true. Yeah.
Only 4 targets from Brady. And when you have only 2-3 receivers out there in the field, you're thinking, okay, this is going to be the time when Brandon Cooks shines. And to see only 4 targets, that just means that the chemistry isn't there yet. Maybe the way Cooks runs his routes is not how Brady likes it, and he's not looking to him at all. or maybe it's just part of the plan right now to just use Cooks as a decoy down deep threat and fill in the other guys. Like the running backs are maybe becoming more of a beneficiary off of it. We've seen what Burkhead and White were able to do in this game. So I'm not sure, you know, two games into the season, we haven't seen much of Cooks. He almost had a touchdown. Brady underthrew him and it got stopped at the 1 yard line. But it's there. You can see that, you know, there's something special. And another deep threat that was able to get involved in this game, because maybe due to injury, is Philip Dorsett.
True.
And he's playing in kind of the same role as Cooks, that outside speed receiver. He had himself 3 receptions and 68 yards on 3 targets as well. So you can say he had a better game than Brandon Cooks.
That's true to say. Yeah, you can.
So you know, Brady's still figuring out a lot of these new weapons that he has. He's losing a lot of receivers. Hogan was hobbled at the end of this game. We already know Amendola is out with the concussion. You have Mitchell who's out, Edelman who's out. So Brady's still figuring things out with Cooks. And give it a couple of weeks. This is the real preseason. They said the first 4 games, you know, with the Patriots, they really start to figure things out. Give it a couple more weeks, and I think Brady and Cooks is going to be something special.
I believe it. And, you know, one thing I've always said is that Brady has worked with a lot of no-name bum receivers over the years. So, I mean, as long as a player like Cooks or anybody else is willing to come into the Patriots, you know, lock in, learn the playbook, learn the system, and want to build up that chemistry with Brady, I think anybody will be just fine, you know, playing with Brady in Belichick's system offensively. But yeah, with the guys going down to injury, like the list goes on, excuse me, Edelman, Amendola concussion, Hogan was hobbled at the end with something with his leg, knee, Gronkowski, you never know his status from the start of the game to the finish. One hit, and this guy could be out for who knows how long, you know, knock on wood. We don't want that to happen. But guys like Cooks, you know, Dorsett, new guys, new faces are going to be really dependent upon this upcoming season, this current season, I mean, because injuries in the NFL could happen just like that. So having the bodies ready to go, and you have Tom Brady, you know, the greatest quarterback of all time, there's the guy slinging the ball. I'd like to believe that the Patriots offense will be okay. And like you said, give it a couple more weeks. Guys like Cooks and Dorsett, new faces, they'll continue to get more comfortable and be a lot more effective.
Sticking to the offense, another guy I want to speak on who's an accusation is Dwayne Allen. We didn't see anything from Dwayne Allen in the passing game. You know, 1 target, 0 reception, 0 yards. It's been a couple weeks, even in the preseason, you know, we haven't seen much from Dwayne Allen. We know he's a great blocker. He's been helping out in the blocking game. But when he was in Indianapolis, he was catching a lot of balls from Andrew Luck. Yeah. You know, he killed us a couple times in game. But we haven't seen nothing from Dwayne Allen. Last week, the first play was to Dwayne Allen. Brady overthrew him, and that was it. We barely saw him. So what is Dwayne Allen's role on this team, especially now when every week we have to hold our breaths when Gronk goes down?
The thing with Dwayne Allen, I think, is obviously Gronk's playing the season. He's healthy and he's, you know, the number 1 target in terms of tight ends. When it comes to Dwayne Allen, I think the Patriots, you know, value all the other stuff he's able to bring to the table at the tight end position, you know, especially blocking. You know, one thing that you look at a tight end and you really want to be able to do, yes, being a good receiving tight end is great, having speed, athleticism, but being able to block is huge. And Dwayne Allen's a big guy, and he can help out in blocking for those that Deion Lewis's, the James Whites, the Burkheads, the Galissis. Dwayne Allen, you know, will do great and continue to do great when it comes to blocking. Receiving-wise, I don't know if the Patriots can really depend on Dwayne Allen to be, you know, what Martellus Bennett was last year next to Gronk, you know, when they were both healthy. Obviously, they were quick to go to those 2 tight end sets and make things happen, whether it was going to Gronkowski or Bennett. I think Dwayne Allen is kind of a step down, especially with the fact that, I mean, I know you just said when he was in Indianapolis with Andrew Luck, you know, he was their number 1 guy for the most part in terms of tight end over there. But I think on top of the fact that even he came out and said, you know, he's having a tough time grasping the playbook and whatnot, it might be still a little difficult for him. You know, as time goes on, maybe he'll get better, he'll get more comfortable. But, you know, it probably takes time. Again, knock on wood. Let's hope that Gronkowski doesn't go down, because if Dwayne Allen is, the number one guy at tight end, and they're trying to depend on him, I don't know how clutch it will be. It's probably the reason why Hollister is getting more time on the field. What do you have today? One reception?
One reception, 5 yards.
Off of 2 targets. So even if Patriots saying, hey, let's have another guy just in case, we all know Gronk's history. Let's have another guy. If it's not going to be Dwayne Allen, maybe Hollister to depend on. Who knows? But I feel like Dwayne Allen is enough of an NFL veteran. He's been around for a while. He should get more and more comfortable, as we're expecting from Cooks and Dorsett. Should get more comfortable in the system and be fine as the season progresses.
And another reason why we bring up Dwayne Allen is because in the third quarter, there was a nice throw by Brady. Gronk, yards after catch, had 2 defenders on him, went down awkwardly, and got taken on the game. The very scary sight. You didn't know what was wrong with him. You had the announcers in the game saying, hopefully it's not his back.
Yeah,
that could be very dangerous for Gronk. And turns out to be a groin injury. It seems like he would be fine, good to go. It was a blowout for most of the game, so there's no reason to really bring back Gronkowski. But Mike, this is the second week now where Gronk goes down and you're scared. The first time when he got the wind knocked out of him, this time it's a groin injury. Can we go through a game where Gronk is just fine? It's just there's nothing wrong with Gronkowski?
I honestly think as long as Gronkowski is playing for the New England Patriots, anytime he hits the ground after a catch and reception, people are gonna hold their breath, because we all by now know the history when it comes to Gronkowski injuries. And I don't want to say that Gronkowski's fragile, but I don't want to use that fragile word. But yes, when he goes to the ground after making a catch, everybody's just sitting there closely staring at the screen, just waiting for him to get up and walk back to the huddle or whatever the case may be. So, I think that's just what it is, what it's going to be. As long as, we're watching Gronkowski play, we've seen numerous times he goes down and he doesn't get up, and then he's out for an extended period of time. So let's just hope that, it's football. You get tackled, you go to the ground. Gronkowski gets up and continues to play great football for the Patriots.
Fantasy football fans, the wait is nearly over. Football is back, which means FanDuel is back. Fantasy football for everyday fans. New contest starting every week. No bust this season. Something for everyone. Lots of contests to choose from, starting at just $1. Just pick a contest, choose your team, and watch your score in real time. Mike, this is week 2 in FanDuel. Who do you believe is going to be a breakout player this week?
I'm going with a guy on my team, receiver, Amari Cooper. Facing the Jets, and we all know the Jets are a very sorry team. So I'm thinking that Cooper can really have a huge game for the Raiders, for Derek Carr, and put up some big numbers for sure.
If it's this week, especially daily, FanDuel, Jets, if you're facing the Jets, is a perfect time to get anybody. You can get Crabtree, Cooper, Derek Carr. Those guys definitely going to eat. So I see where you're going with that one. Amari Cooper, listen to this, man. Over 2.5 million players have won a cash prize playing fantasy sports on FanDuel. Sign up today. Go to FanDuel.com, click Join Now, and use our code PatriotsBeat. Try FanDuel for free with no deposit required. Visit FanDuel.com to claim your free contest and play for free by sharing the $10,000s of dollars. Just sign up using our promo code PatriotsBeat. That's FanDuel.com, promo code PatriotsBeat. Void where committed.
2 questions for you, Marv. Maybe playing a little devil's advocate a little bit, but, let's talk about it. Brady, first game of the season against the Chiefs. We all can agree he didn't play well.
No, bad game by Brady.
And there's some people out there that said, oh, Brady had that game against a good defense, 40-year-old quarterback. Is he going down the hill? Is he starting to decline, whatnot? That conversation, I'm guaranteeing, took place somewhere by some water cooler or something. He plays, the Saints today, who are notoriously bad on defense. Their team has been bad defensively over the last couple of years. I think you said it to me earlier. The Saints have just been wasting away Drew Brees.
Wasting his talents.
Wasting his talents away. But Was today good Tom Brady? This is what we're expecting to see from Tom Brady, or was this just a sorry Saints defensive team so Brady was able to do his thing?
I think it was a little bit of both. Because, Saints defense is trash. Horrible. Brady. It's really ridiculous how bad the Saints defense are. Brady was able to throw 3 touchdowns in the first quarter, which he has never done before. And he's so if he's never done something at the age of 40 now, you got to get a lot of help from the defense, And then Brady didn't show me anything in this game where I said, "Oh man, he's looking like he's slowed down." He made all the right passes, made the right choices. Brady looked good out there, so he's looked just like he looked last year. There's no slowing down from. I don't see any difference. Last game was bad. He had a bad game. He's always had bad games in his career. So now it's because he's 40, it gets magnified even more. Especially when you have a guy like Garoppolo in the back. If you didn't have Garoppolo, last week's bad game would just be chalked up as a bad game. Maybe some murmur about him being 40, but having Garoppolo there, knowing what he's capable of, the talk start to get a little louder. But Brady looked good out there. Saints defense looked bad. The sky's still blue.
All right. Second question. Since the start of preseason all the way up to now, we've gone back and forth. We talked about it on the show. Patriots defense has been looking shaky.
Yes, it has.
You played a team in the Saints today who are notoriously a high-powered offensive team. You got this guy, Drew Brees, throwing for almost close to 5,000 yards and 30-plus touchdowns, every season. Give up 20 points. Drew Brees stats, pretty regular Drew Brees stats, almost threw for 400 yards. I think he finished with 356, 2 touchdown passes. Patriots only get to sack him 1 time this game. Is this a step in the right direction for the Patriots? Or, they slowed down, I guess, a New Orleans Saints team, Drew Brees, to only hold him to 20 points. Is this a step in the right direction?
This is a great step to the right direction, and not because of Drew Brees, because 356 yards in the game's a lot.
Yes.
But what the Patriots did was shut down the running game from the beginning. They shut down the running game and had to force Drew Brees to, throw the ball throughout the whole game. Ingram and Peterson both had only 8 carries. Ingram had 52 yards and Peterson only 26. Their rookie Kamara was used more as a passing down running back.
They really like him, yeah.
And they shut down the running game, and Brees was forced to, use his weapons. And like you said, 356 yards is a lot, but you did the best you could. Michael Thomas, the best receiver, 5 receptions, 89 yards, no touchdowns. Coleman, he beat our guy Butler in a touchdown, 4 receptions, 82 yards. The defense played well. 20 points at New Orleans, you only let up, and the last 7 points was just garbage. It was on garbage time. Patriots defense played very well, and it's the step in the step of the right direction. And a player who emerged, who I really liked, was Wise. A 4th round pick, defensive end. He was the one who got to Brees. He has a lot of strength, a lot of power, very promising. Him and Trey Flowers could be really something special on this D-line. Wise was really good. He really set the tone, especially when you don't have a guy like Hightower playing. And the Patriots defense played very well.
Yeah, like I said, Drew Brees, the New Orleans Saints, they're notoriously, they score a lot of points. That's what they do. They're always at the top of, the stats at the end of the season offensively and what they're capable of doing. And having a game like today where only 20 points, great job in limiting the run. Adrian Peterson, talk about a guy who is declining, going downhill. Obviously, he's not getting, the amount of touches and whatnot that he was getting when he's with the Vikings. But I think even when he does get the touches in New Orleans, he just does not look like he has the same explosiveness. He's not as effective. He's not as athletic. He's not as fast, not as elusive. He's not the same. I know him personally, being, who he is and what his career has been. It's probably hurting him that, one, he's not playing as much as he wants to. And it's probably hurting him a little bit that he's clearly not the same player that he was before. So sorry to him. He did a lot. I still have some beef with him because he screwed me last year in my fantasy team when I took him.
Picked that guy up.
I took him with one of my top picks, and he tore his Achilles tendon, in the first or second game of the season, and it's just been down for that. But it's not about the Saints. It's not about Adrian Peterson. It's a Patriots Postgame Show.
So Patriots now, they go 1-1. They obviously suffer this loss against a good defense in Kansas City. They beat a bad defense in New Orleans. And now next week, they face the Houston Texans, who we know, Texans have been talking a lot of noise when it comes to the Patriots. I just saw the Sports Illustrated when Brady's on the cover, and Texans really believed that they had a chance to beat the Patriots. And they figured the Patriots offense out in the playoffs, and they were really close in beating.
Well, half the coaching staff is made up of former players, so I'm not surprised they're talking mess.
They're talking a lot. You have Watt now. You have Clowney. Their defense is still, top notch. How do Patriots do against this Houston Texans defense next week?
I'm not worried about the Texans at all, just in general. But it's going to be an interesting matchup to see how those guys you just named up front, like a Watt and a Clowney, how they match up against these running backs that the Patriots have in Gillislee, Burkhead, Lewis, and White. Can Watt and Clowney and the rest of that defense contain those guys? Or, will this, four-headed monster that the Patriots have on defense be able to continue to run through, opposing defenses and catch passes, down the field? It's going to be interesting to see. That's where I think I'll be really watching to see how that goes, who can get the upper hand between the Patriots running backs and those guys that the Texans have up front. Watt's still a beast. I know he's missed time, injuries, whatnot, but if that guy's fully healthy, excuse me, kind of similar to Gronk, healthy on the field, that they're going to put in work. So Watt's scary, Clowney's scary. It's going to be a good matchup, but I think at the end of the day, I don't care how many former Patriots coach, for the Texans, play for the Texans. I don't care. You got Bill Belichick, who always has the upper hand up here. So Texans, and on top of that, the game's in Foxborough. Patriots already lost one game in Foxborough to the Chiefs.
They're not letting one.
They're not going to let another one slide in front of their home fans and that new banner that they have hanging up. They're going to get this one done for sure. It might be a blowout, to be honest.
Wow, a blowout. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but a key player is going to be Gronkowski once again. He's bigger and bigger every game because we're losing wide receivers, and when you depend on guys like Chris Hogan and Amendola who have injury history, this is what's going to happen. We were down to almost only 2 wide receivers during this game, and Cooks and Dorsett at a point. So Patriots have a lot of work to do, and I just don't think it's going to click right away. It's in Foxborough. They want to make it up to their fans, but it might take a quarter or two to really get going. Let's see what Brady shows up now. You're facing another great defense. How does Brady dissect this defense with just, does he get Amendola back? Because that'll be huge. If Amendola comes back, that's another guy Brady trusts. How does Cooks, start to really transform into this Patriots offense with Brady throwing the ball? And like you mentioned earlier, these running backs have been fantastic. Having Gillislee be the guy who's, pushing it down the middle, and you have James White, Burkhead, and Lewis acting like receivers pretty much, especially when our real receivers are hurt. It's been a joy to watch. James White has come to his own on this team. To think a couple years back, we see this James White is incredible. He's been amazing so far. Yeah. And you see why the Patriots, re-signed him to this big contract, especially not knowing what they're going to do with Dion Lewis. James White's emerging to his own, man.
I think, when I talked about earlier, guys that Tom Brady really trusts, I think it might go Edelman, Gronkowski, and James White, in my opinion, because you see a lot of plays. Brady wastes no time. If White's in there, he will look at him, and, they have a connection. It's just like the chemistry that Brady, and Edelman have built. I think James White, his chemistry with Brady is right up there with those two guys. And he's going to continue to be very effective with everything the Patriots do on offense for the rest of the season, for sure.
So we've been talking about this Patriots game, 36-20 once again was the score. And there was some good, there was some bad, and there was some ugly in this game, Mike. Let's start it off. Why don't we start it off with your star of the game?
My star of the game or stars of the game?
Oh, you have stars.
Oh, yeah.
You have stars.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Man, shoot it out, man.
Well, when it comes to offense, you want to have good passing, good running, good receiving. And I think the top guys in those three categories, obviously, Tom Brady, heck of a game, threw for over 400 yards, threw 3 touchdown passes in the first quarter alone. The guy was 30 of 39. 30 of 39 with a QBR of 139.6.
Amazing game. He was on pace to have 6 touchdowns and go for like 600 yards at a point, the way he was going in the first half. Obviously, through game plan, it slows down in the second half, but Brady was incredible, as usual.
That's the passing. Now you talk about the running. Mike Gillislee, 18 attempts for 69 yards and a touchdown. Can't ask for too much. The guy's scored a touchdown, I think, in every game he's played in so far. So, hey, if you're going to play in a game and you're going to make it to the end zone, we're all fine with that. Great game for him on the ground whenever Brady handed him the ball. That guy is not only strong, but he's quick, elusive, and he knows how to break tackles.
He runs hard.
Very hard runner.
When he's going in there, he's going to fight for every inch. And that's exactly what the Patriots needed, and they found their guy in Gillislee.
They sure did. So that's the passing, the running. Now you talk about great receiving. Our guy, Rob Gronkowski, 6 receptions for 116 yards and 1 touchdown. That's Brady's guy. Edelman's not there. Next man up that Brady trusts, like I said, is Rob Gronkowski. So those are my 3 stars of the game: Tom Brady, Mike Gillislee, Rob Gronkowski.
I have 1 star of the game because, you already pretty much broke down the offense. Those guys are all star quality people. Another guy who I mentioned earlier, Dietrich Wise Jr., our 4th round pick. He really showed up this game, had 2 tackles for losses, had the sack. It was a one-hand sack, which just brought Breeze down, disrupting plays, really forcing Breeze to throw the ball quicker than he wanted to, stuff that you don't see on the stat sheet. But if you watch the game, you really saw Wise all over the place, and there's a bright future for him. We were saying the same thing about Trey Flowers last year. I was saying about Wise. Wise is my star of the game. I'm looking forward to see what we can do because, Mike, you complain about it every week. We have no pass rushing, but we might have something with this kid.
Yeah.
Patriots might have something.
Very true. Patriots might have something indeed. Hopefully continues to blossom and develop. And, he can be the future, one of the future pieces of this Patriots defense. But like we always say here on this show, when there's the good,
there's the bad.
And when you're bad, we tell you,
sorry.
So I'm going to keep it very simple. I said this earlier in the show. I'm going to say it again. The Saints defense has been terrible. If you have a team like the New Orleans Saints who has Drew Brees, and like I said, at the end of every year, they're pretty much at the top of a lot of offensive categories. They could put up stats, put up numbers, and they're able to do that. But you can't start to build a solid defense. In all honesty, the way the Saints score and Drew Brees has played, there's no reason why they haven't been to a couple Super Bowls by now.
Brees should definitely have more than
it's
one.
Just a shame that Brees has only been to one and he only has one. A damn shame. It's a travesty.
Sorry.
You took the words out of my mouth. To Sean Payton and the rest of the coaching staff and the organization who hasn't put together a solid defense to let Drew Brees and that team flourish, all I got to say to you is
sorry.
That's who I got, man.
And I'm not done. No, we're going to have a double sorry because I'm going to give it to the Saints defense as well. Like we just said it. Brees is one of the greatest quarterbacks in our generation. Mm-hmm. He throws the best stats, great numbers. All the receivers become successful through Drew Brees' system. And only 1 Super Bowl appearance. And this is the third year in a row they start off 0-2. Especially in a conference where, for the most part, it was really weak. You had the Buccaneers, the Falcons, who just started to emerge, and you have not been able to reach the promised land because every year, consistently, your defense is trash. I don't know, it's the coaching staff up there. You guys are not building the right people, the right clientele. You had a chance to get Butler. I don't know how you guys messed that up and couldn't get Malcolm Butler from us, but this defense is bad. It's really bad, and this is going to be the first double sorry, but Saints defense, you get a sorry again. So sorry.
Hey, man. With that being said, Patriots finally get into the win column in this week 2 matchup against the New Orleans Saints. Next Sunday, Houston Texans, 1 o'clock at Gillette Stadium. We will be live right after the game. Hold it down on this post-game show. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at CLNS _MikeNice.
You can follow me at CLNS _Marv.
Join the conversation. Let's talk Patriots. Let's talk football. And let's make it happen. Anything you want to say before we go?
As we continue this show, we're going to start taking questions from you guys. So make sure you follow us on what we are doing. Let's start having conversations throughout this post-game show. Ask us questions either on this YouTube or on our Twitter, and we'll get the conversation going. Patriots are 1-1. Let's make it 2-1 next week.
With that being said, this is the post-game show powered by CLNS Media. We will see you guys next week.